Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to Mindset Explosion season number 4, episode number 14. And tonight I've been joined by the lovely Jeanette Linfoot, and we are going to talk about, what are we talking about, Jeanette?
Well, everything, I think, about being brave, bold, and brilliant.
Brave. Oh, of course. Yeah, we got to get your podcast in. Brave, bold, brilliant. I love the fact you got the poster just behind you. And it's really interesting to see how well you've been doing with that as well since July. I think you're really smashing it. So, but I also want to share, you've got a Mastermind event that's coming up on Tuesday, a free discovery session. And you do a lot of mindset. This is why I was so excited about getting you on today. And I know we had a brief chat before we came live, but that was even more interesting. It's, oh my God, this could be a long show.
Well, I am a northerner and I can chat rather a lot. So, you might
that's
shut
all
me
right.
up.
Life is simple when we can talk anyway. So, Jeanette, very briefly, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so you can probably tell from my dulcet tones that I'm a Mancunian, so I'm a northerner. So I was the youngest of 3 daughters, actually. And so grew up in Manchester, but then actually went to uni and did my economics degree and then really jumped into the travel industry for the majority of my career. So I spent 25 years in the corporate world, in the travel and tourism sector. So I was running quite large travel businesses for Saga and for TUI. So I was the CEO of the travel division for Saga and the MD of the emerging markets for TUI. And then I jumped out about 3 years ago and I'm now in the entrepreneurial space. So I've got a portfolio of my own businesses. So I am corporate turned entrepreneur, Matt. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. So it sounds like you had a very, very good job, a great career that gets talked into us when we're younger. And did you travel a lot with that job as well? Did you get to travel or?
Yeah, I mean, huge amount. So, travel is kind of in my blood, I suppose. I just love the industry and I love to travel for my own enjoyment as well. But especially when I was heading up the emerging markets for TUI, because I had my team in Beijing, my team in Delhi, team in Moscow, Brazil. So, I would probably spend, 60 to 70% of my time out of the UK doing business in all those parts of the world. So, yeah, it was kind of an occupational hazard, if you like, but really lucky to have had the chance. So, yeah, now I'm a little bit more grounded. So I don't have a weekly commute, to Beijing anymore.
Probably just as well after this last year. But I imagine that when you took that decision to come out of the corporate life and become an entrepreneur or work for yourself or whatever you was going through at that stage, I imagine that, I'm just thinking of myself a little bit when I made some changes. Was that quite scary, or was it like, no, I know what I'm doing?
I guess a bit of both in reality, Matt, because when you've done something that you're very comfortable with and you're good at, and you actually enjoy, because I was never one of these people that hated their job. I always loved my every role I've had. So in one sense, any change feels slightly, uncomfortable. But I was excited about what was going to be next, even though not necessarily having a fully formulated plan. I think sometimes you need to almost give yourself some breathing space to get clear on what that next phase is. So, for me, it was just such the right time. I was having a midlife crisis. I was mid-40s. I knew I had a great track record behind me in terms of what I'd done in the corporate world. But I also knew that the time was right for me to do something for myself, more freedom, choice, flexibility, multiple streams of income that we talk about. So it just felt like the right time for me, Matt. But everyone is different. That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, and at the time, I guess you just knew it was right. Had it been building up, or was this part of your long-term plan anyway, or was it just come about and thought, actually, I want to make this change?
It was just a natural pause, I would say. When I was at Saga, the business was going through some changes. I thought, actually, I think the time is right for me to make a move. So, I did all of that. But as I say, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen next. I just actually thought, you know what, I just need a bit of space, and then I'll see how things evolve. So yeah, it wasn't an orchestrated direct plan. That came after a little bit of time of working that through. But when you get that clarity about what's next, it's great, because it absolutely keeps you grounded and focused on where you're heading. So I would always encourage anyone, if they're thinking about making a change, just give yourself a bit of headspace to think about what you really want in life, what's important.
I love that. I love the fact you said you took that bit of a. So how long a gap was there before, from leaving to, right, I'm doing this? Was it?
There was a couple of months really, in reality, because what happened, Matt, was I was doing a lot of mergers and acquisitions in my kind of corporate life. So I had a lot of contacts in the private equity world of business. So what ended up happening when I came out of doing the CEO role at Saga, I then got approached by some private equity houses who were interested in buying businesses. So they said, can you help us on the deal? So actually, it was almost like an evolution, if you like. So my board advisory business really started from there. But I did take some time, my other half and I, we went traveling, we went backpacking around South America for 3 months. So when I actually came out, I probably was away 7 months of that year. But I remember working on a deal when I was in Argentina, remotely with my laptop. So you can work from anywhere. Obviously, this is pre-COVID. But that was the sort of the evolution. And then that turned into my advisory business. And then from there, I got into property investing, my mentoring business, and the podcast as well. So it kind of grew over time, Matt, really. So which was nice.
No, I think you've given some great advice as well there, just in your own experience, because sometimes I guess we can feel like, oh, I should be doing something. I need to be doing this, or this isn't right. But what can I do? But I love the fact you said, look, it's what worked for you, and it may work for some other people. Is that we take that step back and just give a bit of headspace, because I know I felt like that. I've made different transitions, and there's been times when I thought, well, this isn't. I'm okay where I am and enjoying what I'm doing. I feel like there's more, but I didn't know, what as such. And it's, I've gone through these different little transitions myself. So it's great to hear it from yourself as well. And I think you obviously had the belief, right, I'm stopping here. I believe something good is going to happen. And then your purpose kind of evolved from there. And I guess it's evolved even more do you feel like you keep evolving since then?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're all work in progress, aren't we, till the day we die? I mean, I just think that I think when you get a little bit older, you're more comfortable in your own shoes, I would say, and you're a lot more self-aware than maybe you are in your 20s or your 30s. So I think that just naturally comes with a bit of life experience and having a few more miles on the clock. But yeah, I just think that we're all evolving, growing as people. If you're not working on yourself every single day to improve who you are as a person, it's not all about financial success either, just who you are as a person, then you're wasting that opportunity, really. But I think things can come up when I'm a bit of a believer in this, when you raise your vibration and you put yourself out to the world in a certain way, sometimes funny things have a way of coming to you as opportunities. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but but I do think if you're brave and just kind of give it a go, all of a sudden things can evolve over time, and you didn't start with that in mind, but it's actually turned into something really great just because you gave it a go and you weren't afraid to fail.
I love that as well. And it's funny you're saying, it sounds a bit woo-woo, but everyone I talk to now that got that wealth within themselves, and when we talk, same as what you said, wealth can come in many forms, right? And they're happy and doing the things they want to do. They pretty much all said, yeah, I just put it out to the universe. And probably it was something I wouldn't have considered a long time ago, but no, again, things just change. And I think you're absolutely right. You can look at it from the woo-woo point of view, or the law of attraction, or what I'm looking at is what's going to happen, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. These opportunities do that you wouldn't even consider. It's like new doors open. It's like you open a door and there's, oh, actually, I've walked through and now there's like more doors, and you can walk through each one and there's more doors. Do you feel it's been like very much like that?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I mean, the podcast is a great example, actually. So I started the podcast back in July last year. So during lockdown. And, you know, I'm mentored by Rob Moore, who many people will know, along with my partner, Chris, as well. And, you know, Rob had said to me, oh, you know, you should think about doing a podcast. And I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest. So anyway, came up with the idea, got quite excited about it, started to sort of, you know, put myself out there with the podcast. And then never, ever anticipating what would come from that in terms of the people that I've met, the guests I've had on the show, the business opportunities that have come my way, the mentoring clients that have approached me as a result of kind of hearing me out there. So, you know, for what started off as a simple podcast has actually grown arms and legs and just become a great vehicle, really, to have, one, to add value for people and give back and inspire, but two, just the relationships that I've built have been really phenomenal that I never really thought about at the beginning, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like a new way of networking, do you find?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, if you said to someone, some random stranger, hey, can I just come and have a chat with you for an hour over a cup of tea and a ginger nut? Well, then the chances of them saying yes are probably quite low. But if you say, hey, you know, I really like what you're doing. I'm really impressed with your profile. I've got a podcast. I think you would be a brilliant guest. Would you be up for that? And 9 times out of 10, they say yes. You know, so it's a great vehicle for being able to engage in a meaningful way with people, and you're giving back, you're inspiring people, hopefully, who listen, and you get to learn so much as well through the whole process. So, yeah, I'm a big believer that if you put yourself in the way of opportunity and give it a go, you never know where that might lead. For sure.
Exactly. And it's so much fun as well. So how do you get your guests, Jeanette? Do they approach you, or do you approach them, or bit of both?
Combination, to be honest, Matt. I think when I first started out, the natural place to look was within my network, if you like, my business network. So on the show, I'm very much around high performance. You know, how do you get to the top of your game in business or sports or whatever the field is? So the business aspect is obviously a core part of the podcast. So I was lucky that over those 25 years plus in business, I know a lot of people, you know, so actually that's where I started. And a good example is I'm actually interviewing a gentleman called Johan Lundgren next week. Now, Johan is the group CEO of EasyJet. Now, I used to work with Johan at TUI in my old days. Yeah. So we've both gone on and done different things. But because we know each other from years ago, you know, I asked Johan, would he come on? I think he'd be a really great guest. I know he will. And he said yes. So that's just one example of my network. But then just being out and about, more connected on social media. Clubhouse more recently has been a great way to be in a virtual room with people that you wouldn't normally have the chance. So I'm just a little bit cheeky, Matt. Sometimes I'll just send someone a message and introduce myself and say, hey, you know, I've just been in a room with you. I think you look pretty cool. I've got this podcast. Would you fancy, you know, coming on the podcast? A great example of that is Monday's episode that's out tomorrow is with a gentleman called Dodge Woodhall. And Dodge is the owner and founder of the Bournemouth Sevens Festival, which is a big music and sports festival. And I met him on Clubhouse, and then he came on as a guest. He's also the co-host of the Harry Redknapp show. So brilliant guy. And he's out on tomorrow's episode. So I just think you have to have your antennae up for really interesting people and not be afraid to be a little bit cheeky and ask in a nice way. And, you know, and you can get lucky, can't you?
Worst thing to say is no, or just not answer you, but there's plenty of people to ask, right? I find fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. So who's been your favorite guest on your podcast?
Oh my God, it's so hard, isn't it, to pick, you know? I love you all the same. No, it is very difficult to pick. But, you know, I mean, my first episode actually was with a lady called Chris Brown, OBE. and Chris Brown was the MD of the airline at TUI. So as a woman running an airline, that's quite unusual because it's a very male-dominated environment. So Chris was my very first guest. So I've got a really big soft spot for Chris Brown, you know, because for all those reasons. And she's super inspiring. If you're, as a woman in business, she's top notch. I interviewed Rory Underwood. That was a great one. So Rory Underwood still holds the record for being the highest try scorer for England's rugby union. Right. So I had Rory on the show, but there's just so many to mention. You know, it's great. I interviewed last week actually Leon Britton, who is a Premiership footballer. He played for Swansea City. So I'm getting to meet all these people, and it's just cool.
Wow.
But every episode is a true pleasure and a real privilege, actually. And I genuinely mean that, because every single guest is fantastic.
No, I'd have to agree, really, because I think you're right, and you learn so much. And it's like, for me, even when I'm listening to podcasts, I think they are so inspiring, and no matter what level you're at, you can hear all sorts of things, and they're just, sometimes it might just be one thing, but that one thing is just like worth so much just by spending that bit of time and, you know, listening to what they got to say. And it connects, it opens up so many things. I think that's a great thing with Clubhouse. I got to be really careful with that though, because I know I'll get addicted to it.
I know, they call it they start calling it crack house, don't they, Matt?
I don't know about that, but yeah. But even what a great platform that they've come up with there. And it's like podcasting, but with a massive difference. And then you're right, you can connect with just there's been a couple of rooms, you know, Elon Musk did one, didn't he? And Gary V's done one. You thousands to go and hear them say hello.
I know, it's fantastic, and who knows where it's going to lead, right? Because I think some people are in the camp, oh well, you know, it's just a fad, whereas other people are going, no, it is going to be the biggest social media platform going. My views on it are, you've got to be in it to win it, right? So even if it doesn't last, make hay while the sun shines, right? Because it is going great guns now, and all of those connections that you make will stay with you. And then if it is the biggest thing since sliced bread, well, aren't you going to be glad you were in early? You know, so either way, it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. But I just think, you know, just give it a go, put yourself out there and see where it might lead. But you've got to put the effort in. It's like anything in life, Matt, isn't it? Nothing just lands in your lap. You know, you have to put the hard yards in too. Yeah,
definitely. And like you said, fad or not, it doesn't matter. It is what it is at the moment. So there you go. Sure. Something out. I'm sure Facebook will be competing. Anyway, we're going off subject a bit here. So you got you're mentoring people. Have you always mentored, or is this something that was part of this evolution, you know, after leaving corporate? Is it something actually I really want to, you know, mentor? And what, you know, who do you mentor?
Yeah, so to be honest, Matt, I've been mentoring people for 20 odd years, because in all of the roles that I've ever done in terms of my professional career, you know, as part of that, I've always mentored people, whether it's been growing my own teams or actually supporting other people in their careers. So it's something that I've done for a long time. But I guess the difference now is that I thought, well, you know what? People really need help right now. Yeah. People really can benefit from having a mentor. And I know I'm good at it. I know I can add value to really help people transform their lives and their businesses. So isn't now the perfect time for me to formalize it? Actually put it out there to the world, really. And so that's what I did. And I'm absolutely loving it. You know, so for me, what's really important is that I work with people who absolutely want to transform and grow, that they are committed, fully committed to it, and they're prepared to take the action. Because this is the thing. As a mentor, your role is to support, guide, give advice, sometimes give a cuddle when someone is having a hard time, a little kick up the bum when required as well, keep people accountable. But ultimately, you're the mentee that has to take the action. So, you know, you want to make sure the people you work with are fully committed and really want that. So for me, I love action takers, and I love people with a positive mindset that want to be a better version of themselves. So the approach I take is slightly different maybe to some others, because I try to combine the personal development side of mentoring, but also with the business consultancy side that I also bring to the table. So it's a great combination, really, because if someone wants me to review their business plan and their strategy, or help them buy a business, I can do that. But equally, if they want me to help them work on their vision, their purpose, their self-belief, get rid of imposter syndrome, all those side of things, I can equally do that as well. So it's a really nice combination. And I guess I've just been around the block a fair bit myself, Matt. So, I think that means I can hopefully have some value to add, and sometimes it's from some women that are maybe wanting to progress into the boardroom, and it can be quite difficult sometimes. Many times during my career, I was the only woman in the boardroom with a profit and loss account, so yeah. I know what that feels like as well. But yeah, really, I work with people who really want to move themselves to that next level. And I absolutely can help them transform and get there. So it's a great thing to do. I really love it. I get no bigger pleasure than seeing someone absolutely fly in. It's great to see.
Oh no, that's fantastic. And you're still part of a few boards anyway, aren't you? Is that as well? So you're regular in there. So it's like you've kind of left, but you're still doing it, and you're able to, you're up to date, I guess, if that makes sense. Not you wouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's very valid, because business moves fast, right? Things change a huge amount in any industry, actually. So yeah, I still sit on a number of boards. I sit on an organization actually called the Founders Factory, which was set up by a guy called Brent Hoberman. So for those that don't know, Brent Hoberman was the founder of lastminute.com, which he sold for significant millions. So he was really at the start of the .com boom. So he set up this organization called Founders Factory. And what it does, it brings corporate sponsors together with entrepreneurial startups. So that is fantastic, because they tend to be sort of quite tech heavy businesses, very innovative software as a service business, all about innovation, change, disrupting existing business models. So I love that, because one, it keeps me, cool and down with the kids with all the stuff that's going on, and two, I can add value by helping them in terms of scaling and growing those businesses. And then of course for my mentees that I work with, or people who join me on the Mastermind, they get the sort of the benefit, really, I suppose, of me also having that role as well. So, and then I do all sorts of other stuff. I'm a big advocate for diversity and inclusion. So I also do a lot of work with an organization called Every Woman, which is all about helping women really fulfill their potential in their careers and business lives. So yeah, it's really nice to have this variety. I'm enjoying that, to be honest, Matt, at this stage of my life. It's pretty cool.
I love it. I think it's so important as well at the moment, because obviously there's a lot of, the world has massively changed. And it feels, it felt like, oh my God, people got a lot of catching up to do. Yeah. Sometimes even me, it blows my mind when I hear stuff, and I think, what really? And my kids like, oh, that's not equal. That don't make any sense. So well done, sons. But yeah, it still blows my mind to think that things aren't equal. I can't, you can tell me stuff, and I'm like, I can't get my head around it. So I think it's so important what you're doing, and that you're in that environment, and like the fact you said, I was the only female in a boardroom, and I feel you got so much you can give, and world needs waking up. That's my feeling. Good,
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, listen, we've made loads of progress. We absolutely have. But you still can't get away from the fact that of the top 100 companies in the UK, only 6 of them have female CEOs. And that's that's the biggest ones. Now, what I tend to find in the more entrepreneurial space, there is more diversity. Yeah. Not just gender diversity, just in general, because, if I look at the world of property investing, which is one of my other businesses, actually, there's a lot of female property investors because, well, not just because, but one of the reasons is when you are your own boss, you can manage to fit around other, childcare responsibilities. If you're looking after elderly parents, you can still run your business very, very capably around those other, things that we have to also pay attention to. Whereas if you're in a big corporate job, it's not always that easy to get the flexibility that you need. So actually, it's different in different sectors. It's different in different size of organizations, but you do get quite a lot of female entrepreneurs because they can run their businesses around their life and kind of set what they want to achieve, for their business, their careers, and their life and their families, without having to just be constrained and fit into a certain mold. So yeah, I'm not sort of, and you know what, Matt, it's not about men or women being better or worse. The point is we're different, and that's the joy. Actually, that is the joy. So I'm not a sort of one of your burn your bra types, but I do really believe in fairness, diversity, and it's proven that the financial results are far, far higher when you have a diverse board, whether it's gender, race, sexual orientation, so it's important stuff, but you have to really have as many people behind that as possible to really make an impact. But we're getting there, but more to do, of course.
Do you feel that for that to work, the people involved are very open-minded? Is that quite important?
Yeah, it is, and it's important in whichever organization. I think that partly the tone is set from the top. I think you have to make it a strategic priority, whether you're a small business or a big business. You have to have it as a core part of your value structure. And I'm not necessarily pro quotas, but I think you do have to measure this stuff, because what gets measured gets done. And there are some really great examples of businesses that are massively changing the dial on this. So if you take aviation as an example, EasyJet, I mentioned earlier, with Johan Lundgren, that's going to be on the podcast in a few weeks' time. EasyJet specifically said they wanted to get more female pilots. And, being a pilot has historically been a very male-dominated career choice. So EasyJet set a very high strategic priority. They measure it. They go into schools, and actually talk to girls around, if you want to be a pilot, you can be. This is a choice for you that maybe, even definitely 10 years ago, those conversations wouldn't have ever happened, So I think it's setting the tone from the top. It's actually having a clear strategic priority. It's about setting goals that you can really measure against, and also empowering everyone throughout the organization to play their part. And of course, women, if we're talking about gender diversity, they also have to take responsibility themselves as well, because an organization can do so much, but there are certain traits that maybe women have that we would benefit from, sort of keeping their hand up for longer, and just sort of pushing themselves forward a little bit more in the right way. So yeah, you could get me talking all night on this, Matt. I'll shut up.
No, it's good. This is easy. I don't have to say anything. Well, thank you. No, it's so valuable. It's so valuable, everything that you're saying. And I've been in a couple of rooms on Clubhouse where I think you might have hosted one, or I know you've certainly been on a few rooms. I've heard you speak, and you give so much value. And I think, oh my God, the knowledge you got. And obviously, I'm following you on Facebook and LinkedIn, and your weekly business report on LinkedIn. I love it. Who's up, who's down? So with that, how long does it take you to do all the research for that? Because your business knowledge is just immense, it feels.
Well, you know what? I think if you're naturally curious about business or whatever topic, then you pick those things up throughout the week. So I'll see something about a certain business that's maybe having a good time or is a bit in the doldrums, and I'll just make a note of that throughout the week, the course of the week. So I don't really notice it in one chunk of time. I just kind of keep an Evernote folder, if you like, and I just will put in, okay, this is what's happened with that business I noticed today. But I think it helps if you're naturally curious about that kind of stuff. And also, I just think it's really important when it comes to sort of educator. I'm not an educator. I'm just a normal person that's out there with a natural curiosity. But I do think that, if you look at kind of how kids are taught in school, there's very little business nous taught or financial acumen. It tends still to be very traditional topics, subjects. So I think sometimes the more we can put out to the world to be able to easily digest some of this stuff, it's going to set people up in the right way. And I think what I really love is you could be really passionate about the sector that you're in or the business that you're in, but actually you can become quite introspective sometimes. So what I try and do by putting that, that particular business news out that I put out on a Saturday is my focus on that is to try and help people see what's going on outside of their normal periphery of vision, because you can learn so much from other businesses, from other sectors, and you might think, oh God, that's cool. Maybe I could apply that to what I'm doing, or oh, I never knew that. I'm going to check that out. So that's my motivation, is just really to help people see beyond their normal kind of sphere, if you like, because I think we can learn so much from each other.
I totally agree with that. I think that's one of the reasons I signed up with Rob Moore on the Mastermind, because I've been on Mastermind. It was, martial arts business oriented, and it was, fantastic. I got a lot out of it. It's probably where, I got the inspiration, first of all, to do these live shows and podcasts and book, everything else. So the normal stuff. But I've really enjoyed getting out my comfort zone a little bit and getting into a master, similar to what you'd got launching now on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And meeting people from like yourself from different sectors, and actually, if I hadn't done that, I think I said to you just before come live, I don't know if I would ever considered about my next step, what I'm doing now in terms of buying some businesses, creating a portfolio with that. So it is so inspiring. You learn so much. I feel at the moment like the new kid at school. I've only been on it 3 months for this one, and I like that. I both like it and don't like it, but I more like it because it is inspiring, and I can look. It's like when you first got to seniors, so once you were like the tallest in school, and now suddenly you're the smallest, and I don't know anything. I really enjoy it, and I've met some great people. So I feel that that I want to come on to the power of the Mastermind, but through there. But I think you're absolutely right. We can learn so much. We don't have to be fixed within our own sectors. We can learn so much just from just other people, and half time if you're stuck on something, someone's been through that before anyway.
100%. And this is it, and you make a really interesting point, Matt, actually, because I think growth comes on that sort of border of comfort and discomfort. And it's I suppose, listen, you're into your martial arts, right? It's a bit like training in the gym, isn't it? If you get comfortable with a certain training schedule, you're not really stretching your muscles beyond, but it's when you actually start lifting maybe slightly heavier weights or something, and that's where you're going to take yourself to the next level of your fitness or your muscle tone or whatever. Well, the brain's exactly like that, I think, and by stretching it and pushing yourself, actually that's where you get the progress. But does it always feel comfortable? Of course not. Are you going to get it right all the time? No way. You're going to suck at certain things, but that's all right, because you're going to learn something, and you just don't know what you're capable of. I think you have to get rid of those limiting self-beliefs and tell yourself a different story, because when you do that, you can achieve anything you want in life. And I firmly believe it 100% with all my heart. But the thing is, you have to get your head in the right place, believe in yourself, know where you're heading, and just take loads of action. And don't be afraid of failing, because it's not failing. You're just trying stuff. And that's okay if it doesn't work out. You're going to learn something. So what? Fail fast. Just carry on.
Fail often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you're absolutely right. You just give it a go, and like you said, it's not fair. I think some of the things that didn't come to pass for me, actually, it just meant, no, that's not for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll try this, but it's not quite. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it, some things later on, but I feel I'm on the right track now. So, and another thing, because again, you got, so the master, you're doing this, is it a one-off mastermind? It's a discovery mastermind on Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Yeah, so it's the Brave, Bold, Brilliant Discovery Mastermind. So yeah, it's on Tuesday, the 23rd, isn't it, on Tuesday at 7 o'clock UK time. I'm running this for free because I want to give value to people, really, to get them going with some of this stuff. As I say, you know, I really believe that success comes in all shapes and forms, and there isn't one route to that. It looks different for everyone. But it can be quite difficult sometimes trying to get this stuff done yourself on your own. Whereas if you are part of a mastermind or a mentoring program, it just means that you can have that level of support, guidance, inspiration, accountability. So the Discovery Mastermind on Tuesday is all about getting people started, really, Matt, with how they can really identify what they want to achieve. And I'll take them through my belief system. I don't want to give everything away, but a belief system that I've developed, which just keeps me really grounded and true to myself. So I'll take them through that. And then, you know, obviously I'm going to make sure that they get massive value from that session, because that's important. I'm going to do a live mentoring session during it as well. So everyone that's on that can come with a business challenge, opportunity, or they might be grappling with some personal stuff. Ask me anything and I will be there to help you live on the mastermind itself. And then for those that want to carry on and continue their development, well, then, you know, I have a full inner circle mastermind that people can join as well. So I'll take them through that as an opportunity, really, because I just think that when you start this stuff, it can get a bit addictive, can't it? Because you know, the more you progress, the more you see yourself grow, the more you realize that there are no boundaries. So why would you stop? Why would you stop your development? No, get on a program, get a mentor, join a mastermind, because it's going to really make the difference. So that's what it's all about. So anyone that's interested, they just need to DM me, and yeah, come along. All is welcome. But I tell you what, if you want to transform, grow, take yourself to the next level, this is the way to do it.
No, 100%. And I know you're going to give so much value, because on the Clubhouse rooms, you gave so much value. The ones when I've heard you talk, Jeanette, you've given so much value. I haven't mentioned it on the live. I interviewed Wayne Smith, I think a few months back. He's under your wing. He spoke so highly of you, and he's doing, you know, great things that as a boxer, you know, his the thing he's doing in the school, I got to talk about. You'll probably talk about it better than me, but yeah, tell us a bit more about Wayne. He spoke so highly of you, and I think for him to do what he's doing, knowing what I know within the sector, out of this world.
Yeah, no, Wayne is fabulous. I'm sure he won't mind us mentioning, because he has sort of, you know, the thing is, when you have a relationship with a mentee, it's 100% confidential, right? So I will never betray any confidences, anything that we talk about in private. But Wayne, you know, he's doing amazing things, not only in the world of boxing and giving back to his local communities. What he does with schools and kids and everything is just phenomenal. But also for Wayne, you know, he's pivoting himself. You know, he's getting into his property business. I'm helping him set that up and really go through that in the right way, at the same time as with the other two businesses that he has. So Wayne is a great example of someone that absolutely wants to achieve more in his life for him and his lovely family, you know, and he's just got the biggest heart possible, and he's so open-minded to learning and trying new things. He's an absolute delight, a real pleasure to work with. He is. So yeah, big shout out to Wayne. We love you, Wayne.
Hey, so who is it for on Tuesday? Is it does someone have to be an entrepreneur? Do they have to own a business? Like, who's this mastermind for?
Well, no, I mean, to be honest, it's the people that really feel that they want to take themselves to the next level, whatever that might be. So it could be for people that are in a job and they think, oh, I really want that promotion. You know, I've not gone for it, or I really want to have the courage to be able to actually push myself in my career. So they could be in a job in the corporate world, or, you know, they might have a business that they want to scale and grow. Or it might be for someone that, you know, just really wants to develop themselves purely for themselves, be a better version of who they are today, you know, for their families. And if people also, sometimes I find that a lot of people that I work with, Matt, they have an idea that's been sitting there for quite a while, and they've got this feeling in their gut that they know they should be doing something about it, but they don't know where to start, or they haven't quite formulated it properly. So if you're in that situation, this is a great option for doing that, because, you know, the Tuesday will give you a good kickoff. But as I say, then if you want to carry on for like a full 6-month program, I will take you through all aspects of what you need to do to get clear on your purpose and your vision, to set your mindset in the right way with the self-belief, get rid of those limiting self-beliefs, how to get out there networking, because that's a big thing, how you network effectively, become a really great communicator, you know, how to actually take an idea and turn it into an actionable plan, whatever it might be. So we cover a whole host of topics. Obviously Tuesdays to get going. You know, people will walk away from Tuesday with lots of value anyway. And that's great, because that's my intention. But as I say, that once you get going with these things, you don't want to stop, because who doesn't want to continue to improve, right?
Yeah, I know. And you get, there's so much can be got from a mastermind as well, and it does blow your mind, in a good way. In a good
absolutely
way.
Absolutely. And you know, and I guess I also, you know, one of my core values, Matt, is never ask anyone to do something that you're not prepared to do yourself, or you haven't already done yourself. And that has been something that stayed with me through all of my life, whether it's in my personal life or in my business life. So, you know, when it comes to mentoring masterminds, you know, I have always had, you know, mentors myself at different points in my career. I've invested in my own personal development 100%, and every single time it has catapulted me to the next level. You know, whether it was going from, you know, being more junior in my career and getting my first promotion, or whether it was like getting into the boardroom, or whether it was where I am now, you know, actually with the entrepreneurial stuff I'm doing. You know, we're mentored by Rob Moore and Mark Homer directly to help us with our property business. So, you know, I walk the walk myself with this stuff, for sure. But I'm very passionate about it, because I just think everyone has greatness in them. You know, you just
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just
definitely.
let's get it out of you and get it out there and present it to the world. Don't have a life full of regrets, right? You've only got one life.
Definitely. I totally agree with you with the whole mastermind, because it does take you to the next level. And you make some great. Here's one, Manjeet. So me and Manjeet did a social media, a mastermind last year. I guess you know Manjeet as well through some.
I do. Wonderful, Manjeet.
Thank you, Manjeet. Comments. So there we go. Yeah, I think the connections that you make and being around, for me, I think it's being around like-minded people as well. And something, I don't know if I heard this recently, but we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So, you know, sometimes we can't always control, you know, certain things, but at least this way, I'll come out buzzing. I'm on 2 at the moment, and I'll come out, obviously, I think we're on the same one, but and another one I'm on, but I'll come out buzzing from that. And I may not be able to implement everything straight away, but that is still, like, I don't get me wrong, I love listening to a podcast. I'll get a lot from that. I love listening to an audio book. I'll get loads from that as well. But nothing ever, I don't think, has beat being part of a mastermind program and you know, around great people. And you're right that the fact, because quite clearly you'll get you've got your mentorship. So it's like being on a mentorship with yourself is like you're climbing up and you're bringing the people with you. So it's like
it's a nice way to do it, actually, because and the other thing is, you know what, actually, even the learning is great, the accountability is absolutely critical, but you know, being in a sort of safe environment where you can genuinely be yourself, you can talk about your worries, your concerns, or opportunities that you don't quite know how to go about it, in a place where there's no judgment, there's just genuine care and support. That counts for a huge amount, because, you know, I don't know, not not everyone is surrounded by supportive people in their life. You know, I'm really lucky. I've got an amazing partner, Chris. I've got a fabulous family, you know, but sometimes there are people in your life that can be very close to you that maybe they don't get what you're trying to do. And maybe very often they're coming from a place of love. 9 times out of 10, it's because of genuine concern for you. But that can sometimes really put you off, and it can really sort of, you know, discourage you from making those moves. And actually to have a place to go where you do get the encouragement and the support, or equally someone that's going to call you out and say, hang on a minute, maybe you're not quite doing what you should be doing here. You've been a bit lazy, or what's going on? There's a blocker. Let's talk about it. Because there are plenty of people in life that will try and knock you down, right? And rubbish your ideas or put you off. Sometimes, most of the time it's from concern, but sometimes they're just not the right people to be around, you know?
Wow, you said that so well, definitely. And I think you do need that. And everyone is so supportive, aren't they? So it's literally everyone's cheering each other on. I think, wow. A great investment. Get on there Tuesday. I think I've put your email. I've lost for words.
Thanks, Matt. Everyone's welcome.
And your podcast, The Brave, Bold, and Brilliant, that's released every...
Yeah, so I do 2 episodes a week, Matt. So I do a Monday, which is always with a guest who's, you know, really, really either at the top of their game or has had lots of different experiences along the way, you know. So always with a really inspiring guest on a Monday. And then a Friday, I do solo content. So just a few, you know, words of advice or inspiration or things that I've been working on myself, whether it's business related, mindset, or, you know, just actually trying to put value out there to help people. So, 2 episodes a week, Mondays and Fridays. And that's consistently been the case since I launched it at the end of July last year.
Brilliant. I love it. I've got so much fun this evening. I could carry on talking, but I think we need to 45 minutes. We need to wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on stage, Jeanette. I really appreciate it, and I hope to get you back on at some other point, because I feel like there's just so much to talk about.
Honestly, I told you I'm a northerner. I can talk for bloody England, honestly, but I've really enjoyed it, Matt. I love what you're doing with the podcast. I love what you're doing in your business, and good luck with all of your new ventures as well. Very exciting.
Yeah, let's watch this space.
Yeah, exactly. All good stuff.
All good stuff. Thank you so much. Good luck with Tuesday. Everyone, either DM Jeanette. I think the emails, I think I put it in the copy. So if you want to find out more, how many spaces have you got for Tuesday?
Well, I'm all right, actually. We're getting fast, but because we're doing it on Zoom, actually, you know, we're not so restricted. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, they're going fast. So get in.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. And I am back next week with another interview. Gordon Bircham, fellow martial artist. So he's done some great stuff within our industry. So I look forward to seeing you all then. Peace and love always. Bye-bye.
Bye.